Raiders, Archman suck. It sounds like Sal from Impractical Jokers. I love it. But yo, what's cooling? What's going on? Hope you guys having a good day, man. We got a mock the mock today from Keith Sanchez over at the NFL Draft Network. And I feel like I didn't do that many of these last year. Even though I love looking at mock drafts. I typically just do them off camera. I don't know. But I feel like, hey, I want to do at least try to do one a week. I know sometimes like there's certain things I try to do with the, individual mock drafts and everything like that. But I'm going to try to get more of these because I really do enjoy it. It's a lot of fun to look at other people's mock drafts and criticize people, you know what I'm saying? But no, Keith Sanchez here is going to be the mock draft for the day. And let's take a look. This is after week 1, of course, of the college football season. And the draft order is reflected in the Super Bowl odds. So I'm going to grade each pick and just get this excruciating on. And New Orleans Saints at number 1, Garrett Nussmeier. A little bit of conflicting, state of interest going on over there in New Orleans with his dad being the OC. Doesn't that seem a little bit insider trading-esque? I might have to report him to the NFLC. I don't know, but either which way, Nussmeier, he played really well. He did play really well. He should have had another touchdown, but on a side note, they need to change the rules a little bit with that. Like, come on, just use common sense. That was a catch. Something with like Nick Harbor, like this, just some of these getting out of hand with these catches. Garrett Nussmeier, though, definitely played well. I still am a little lower on Nussmeier when it comes to this. I could definitely talk myself into him being a first-round pick, though, at this point. And he's a great quarterback at processing and reading the field. Like that, I never question with Nussmeier. It's the decision-making that has to get better. And it was a lot better. Besides like one throw that I saw, I thought he was very, very good. Either which way, even with the insider trading, I think that they need a quarterback. I mean, hey, you see Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shook, what happens there? I'm rooting for the Rattler, I'll tell you that right now. And I think there's a good chance they're not picking number 1 overall just because you know how it goes. When everybody's mocking a team number 1 overall, they never actually end up being number 1 overall, I feel like. On to the Cleveland Browns, they go LaNorris Sellers. They go for the upside. And you don't have to sell me too hard on him. He is one of the most difficult quarterbacks that I've had to see to tackle in a very long time, since like Cam Newton days. Plays a lot like him, and I think he's going to be a guy that is going to be talked about very, very heavily because of some of the boomer bust level of ability, especially with guys like Anthony Richardson who just came out and have not worked out thus far. That may hurt him a little bit, but I don't want to compare him to that because he's his own player, and I still believe in Anthony Richardson too. It's just, we'll see how it goes. But LaNorris Sellers for the Browns makes a lot of sense. Go get a quarterback here. Unless you want to pay Joe Flacco 10-year contract. Come on, guys. Let's do it. I love Joe Flacco. Falco's back. New York Jets. They go Cade Klubnik. I'm not really a Cade Klubnik truther at this moment. I mean, first off, I respect Cade Klubnik as a football player. I can tell he loves football. He's like got that gamer sense. He's one of the most competitive quarterbacks I've seen out there. Has a little bit of Baker Mayfield vibes to me. However, I just, time and time again, when I watch him and I see him under pressure or when it's kind of like difficult times and him having to make a throw, I just feel like his accuracy is way off. So I don't know. His decision making too. So those two things are really things that concern me a bit. No question, he's got a good deep ball, though. I really like some of his deep ball stuff. And if the Jets are being number 3 quarterback, I would go Drew Aller, though, here. For me, that's where I would go. And that's kind of where I'm at the moment. But it is still early. New York Football Giants, of course, the New York teams are back-to-back. That seems very likely to happen again. I don't know. They go Caleb Downs, though. You're safe from Ohio State. Okay, I love Caleb Downs. There's nothing against Caleb Downs. I don't know if this is really the need for the Giants. I think tackle could be the bigger need. Jermaine Limore being a free agent and everything like that would make a lot of sense over that right tackle position. Other areas to the Giants, hey, I wouldn't necessarily rule out quarterback. They're going to get to see Jackson Dart. I do think they give Jackson Dart at least a season, especially considering they trade back in. I'd be shocked if they did take a quarterback, unless they're picking like number 1 overall, number 2 overall, like something like that. That would be the only case scenario of that. But with that being said, I also wouldn't hate the idea in this case scenario going with a guy other than right tackle wise, maybe even interior Peter Woods. Why not just build up? They're okay, right? They did just draft dude from Toledo, so I think Darius Alexander. So they got somebody else there. So I think corner maybe could be another area depending on how things work out for this season. That could be a possibility too for this football team. For right now, though, Caleb Downs would be kind of like best player available at this approach, or you trade down if you're not going right tackle. Tennessee Titans going Keldrick Folk, edge rusher from Auburn. Really, really good edge rusher with insane talent. The traits are all there, and the tape is also pretty good. Like, I don't think he's going to get a little bit of the raw treatment, but he's an impactful player. Like, I've seen the raw treatment before and what that actually means. Like, he can play, okay? He can definitely play. He's not just a traits guy. So for Tennessee, I do like the fact they're getting an edge rusher. I still think Reuben Bain probably at this point is probably edge one, maybe after week one, but Folk is a good player too. I think you could sell me on either which one. I think Folk has a tremendous upside, but Bain also has plenty of upside. I think that guy could be a top tier edge rusher in the NFL. Raiders, get ready because this one's going to be mocked to you over and over again. I bet you're already tired of it, and we just began in the mock draft cycle. But Peter Woods from the Clemson defensive tackle to the Raiders makes a ton of sense. They need a DT. They need somebody there for the long haul. Carolina Panthers, Caden Proctor. Classes in session, says the Carolina Panthers. Not a fan of this pick, though. I would give this one probably like a D. I don't love it. I think this is one where you have Taylor Moton. They just gave a 2-year contract extension. You've got your left tackle, Ikem Ekwonu, that is going to be on that club 5th-year option. You know, like, what are you doing? You drafting a backup at 7 overall for the future. If you're not paying Ikem Ekwonu, then that's fine. But, like, I'm not drafting somebody at 7 overall at this point. I'll draft somebody 3rd, 4th round to be able to develop, and then we can go from there. And maybe you could say, oh, we play guard, but then they got Lewis and they got Hunt. And also Proctor, the player, too, to me he's a raw player with some traits. Yeah, I get it. So I understand that, but I don't know. I feel like he's got so much hand technique to work on and footwork issues, leverage issues. I don't know if I'd take him as an OT1 in the class. I'd rather go and take Caleb Lomu, or, you know, there's other guys out there. Drew Shelton I like even more. So who knows, right? And as mentioned, Xavier Chaplin, some other guys out there. There's plenty. You got Spencer Fanu, whether you see him as tackle or guard. All those things aside, I just feel like it doesn't make really sense from a position standpoint of need, and then also from a player, I think I maybe lean other ways at the moment, as much as Proctor has tons of talent. On to the Dolphins. Sonny Styles. Let's go. I love Sonny Styles. Yes, I love the name. That's part of it. But man, the dude is a dog. I thought I was high on Sonny Styles, as I had him at like 20-something in my first mock draft. Really do like Sonny Styles. That guy is just a dog. He plays everywhere on the field. He's got the athletic traits to be a safety, but at the same time, he's got the physicality where he can drop him on the defensive line and he can rush the passer. So he can be an impact in both elements and multitude of roles. He's just an absolute monster there. And the Dolphins, yeah, I can see this. Like, they've been looking for that guy at that linebacker position for a minute. Other areas like corner, I mean, Jamal McCoy would make a lot of sense for the Dolphins too. I mean, if Caleb Downs is here, then that would probably be the pick for me for the Miami Dolphins. Offensive line is still a thing for them too. So a couple of areas to watch out for with the Dolphins. Indianapolis Colts, Drew Aller, the pick that I wanted for the Jets. The Colts go and get Drew Aller. I'm a big Drew Aller fan. I don't know what it is about quarterbacks too that typically come back. It's like Drew Aller could have come into this 2025 draft and to me would have been a 1st-round pick. However, he said, you know what? I'm coming back. I'm going to try to improve. I want to get better, and I want to win a national championship here with the Penn State Nittany Lions. I just respect that. And when you look at quarterbacks who've done that before in prior histories, you think of Peyton Manning's, you think of Justin Herbert most recently. Guys who come back, just a thing I love. I don't know. It stuck out to me. It always sticks out to me. And Drew Aller was my number 1 quarterback last year, so there's a little bit of bias there as well. Indianapolis Colts can select a quarterback here. New England Patriots, Anthony Hill, the linebacker from Texas. Nothing against Anthony Hill. Keith Sanchez loves his linebackers. I do too. I think there's 3 linebackers that are 1st-round selections at the moment, and it's Hill, it's CJ Allen, and Sonny Styles. All 3 of those guys I like a lot. New England, though, I don't know if I love this pick just because of the fact that I feel like they have other needs, and edge rusher could be one of those. Like Reuben Bain would be a great pick here. I think you could even look at a right tackle of the future. Morgan Moses is under contract, but he's going to be, like 35 next season, so that's something they could consider. Wide receiver, Jordan Tyson, like that would really entice me to go and get him. And let's see, what else? I mean, I don't know if I'm taking a tight end at this point. Contracts-wise, they're still fine with that. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm looking at, though, is either offensive line, wide receiver, edge rusher. Really, those are the areas. Or even if Caleb Downs is there, I'd go ahead and take him. Anyway, good player. I guess it makes sense. I mean, Vrabel, the style and everything like that. Sure, he could be a hybrid player that also rushes the passer. Hill is so good at that, so I get that. But you got Ellis, you got Spillane, John Spy, I believe, is still under contract. Not saying they would take me out of it, but that's just kind of where I'm at. Cleveland, they go Jordan Tyson here, the chicken man. No, I'm joking. He should get a chicken sponsorship from Tyson. That'd be cool. But yeah, Nugget Man. I don't know. Nugget Man. I just watched the Thunderbolts, so maybe I got superhero in my mind here. But Tyson, not talking about chicken, of course. We're talking about the football player, and he's a very good one. You pair him up with Jerry Jeudy, especially if Cedric Tillman doesn't maybe develop this season, then this would make sense. We'll have to see how Cedric Tillman comes along this year. But I do like Tyson. I think he's a very, very good football player. And the Browns, you pair him along with LaNorris Sellers. Not bad. I think offensive line like Spencer Fanu, though, would probably be the way that I'd lead with this one because he could play guard for them and even be a swing tackle for injuries with Conklin and DeJuan Jones and whatnot. And you got Cornelius Lucas still under contract, too. On to the Rams. They go Spencer. Here we go. Spencer Fanu. Speaking of which, here he is. Speaking into existence. I'm fine with this one. Hey, Rob Havenstein's getting older. I believe he's a free agent after this season. So why not go ahead and get your heir apparent right here? Boom, shalang, bada bing, bada boom. You go and hit him up for Matthew Stafford to protect. Reuben Bain, A-plus pick here for the Dallas Cowboys, who are probably a little infatuated and struggled and pissed off and say other words that I could say to that. But Reuben Bain, excellent pick here for the Cowboys, and Jerry Jones to get yourself a beast off the edge. And hey, they could have some beasts already right there with Donovan Ezeraku and Marshawn Nealand. On to the Seattle Seahawks. Isaiah World, the world is in your hands. They go get themselves a tackle to pair up with Charles Cross on the opposite end. No problem at all. Abe Lucas is a free agent. They dealt with a lot of injuries there. Let's improve the offense line. It still is a need for them. Pittsburgh, Jacoby Lane. I love Jacoby Lane. Let's go. I feel like he's underrated because he just doesn't have the athletic traits the teams are looking for. And I get it may not be a crazy separator or anything like that, but he made so many crazy catches last season at USC. We'll see how he plays this year. They need another wide receiver. Obviously, their wide receiver room is DK Metcalf. Well, hopefully Roman Wilson steps up. I mean, you got Calvin Austin too. Not bad. Definitely, don't want to discount him. Right now, though, I definitely could see them going after a wide receiver. I think quarterback, though, is going to be the big elephant in the room. Who's quarterback for them? On the Arizona Cardinals, Francis Mauigoa from Miami the Hurricane. He was a dominant force there in that Notre Dame game. He's a dominant force anywhere you look. He is probably the baddest, meanest, toughest blocking machine in the college football nation, right? And that's kind of that weird, but in college football right now, the dude is an absolute monster. He is as strong as a bull. He just terrorizes dude with his strengths. He doesn't have maybe like the lateral agility to play tackle. I don't know if his first step quickness is going to be able to always handle speed. So there's that. But ultimately, he could also play guard. I think he can be a tackle, though. I don't see why he couldn't. So maybe there'll be some length concerns too with him. He's probably going to be on the shorter side when it comes to that. But Mauigoa, there's no doubt about his strength profile. He gets hands on you. You may as well just sit down. You might as well just go ahead and take a seat. Bears, Jeremiah Love. We're going to see this one over and over again as Bears fans. Don't be shocked, though. Like, for me, I like a linebacker. I think they need to get cheaper at the linebacker position. So, in terms of who's still on the board here, I'd look at CJ Allen. I think that'd be a great pick for this Bears football team. And I think they could end up moving on from Tremaine Edmonds after this season. Get safety could be something in the lurks for them, too, depending on Jaquan Brisker's health. That's definitely a big thing with the concussions. And then Kevin Byers getting a little bit older. Maybe that's more of a day 2 pick, though, for me at the moment. Offensive line, left tackle. I think they could always move to Darnell Wright over to left tackle and then have Ozzie play right tackle, if nothing else. Like, that could be a possibility for them, too. So, I don't know. We'll see how that all works out. But for right now, I think that, running back, I get it. I really do. Even though I do still have Jonah Coleman as my number 1 running back. I like Air Love, great player. I'm a little higher on Nick the Quick and also Jonah Coleman. I like both of those guys a lot. Minnesota Vikings go Avion Terrell, the corner from Clemson, and obviously AJ Terrell's brother. They need a cornerback. Makes a lot of sense. I still think Jermon McCoy is the best one-on-one cover man, but you have to think about the injury thing. And, you want a player that's available. We'll see how Jermon McCoy comes along as the season progresses. He's already practicing, so that's a good sign. So if he gets out there later in the season and looks back to form, then I would take McCoy here because I think he is corner 1 in the class. And that's nothing against Terrell. I think Terrell's a good football player too. And, hey, LSU team was good. Yeah, he lost a jump ball in the end zone 1-on-1, but he was in pretty good position. Just wasn't able to sweat the ball out. And you got Aaron Anderson as a tough, good receiver. Denver Broncos here, Mateo Uyunglele is a beast from Oregon. As a Ducks fan, trust me, this guy can make it happen. He is going to get, I heard this from Dane Brugger. I saw this from Dane Brugger, should I say, is that he gave him the JT2MO allow comp. And I see a lot of that. He's not the most explosive guy, but he's an athletic guy. He's really good with his agility, so he can use his hands advantageously to be able to maneuver around those tackles and whatnot. And he does have some speed. I think he's a little bit better an athlete still than JT, but definitely a guy that I like with his technical nuance already as a young football player. The Broncos, maybe you could play him as more of your John Franklin Myers, because you could get a little weight on him, move him inside the 5-tech at times and play him off the edge in rotation with Jonathan Cooper and Nick Benito. And Jonah Ellis too, still, obviously. So we'll see how things work there. But I do think Caleb Banks would be a good option too for them on that interior to pair along with Zach Allen for the long haul and Jones. Then we go on to the Houston Texans. Max E. Anchor, it's what we call him, but no, I still need to learn his name, so I apologize on that one. I apologize to Max with this one. I have not watched him yet, so he's a guy that I got to get around to in terms of just strictly the positioning. With him, I think that it comes down to how does Blake Fisher look this season, right? That's going to be a big thing for this football team. They could always improve offensive line. It's been a big problem for them, of course, recently. So improving the offensive line, I'm never against that. Other areas they could look at, I would say, would be defensive interior. I look at Caleb Banks here. I think that would be a great pick to get that dude, that stud on the interior. And you pair him up with Danielle Hunter and Mr. Anderson, and you're rocking and rolling with that. On to Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Kenyon Sadiq, the athletic, freakish hurdler. I mean, get him the ball in hands, screen guy, doesn't matter. Kenyon Sadiq is a fun player. And I think if they let go of Cade Otton, then this would make a lot of sense. Go out and just get yourself Kenyon Sadiq. And he's an absolute physical specimen. I love him a lot. So we'll see. It's just going to come down to what they do in free agency. I think linebacker CJ Allen would make a lot of sense here too, if the great Levante David does retire after this season. On to the Bengals, Jermon McCoy. What a great find for them. They find him at 22. It's a little bit of Jeffrey Simmons vibes, so they can get this this later round pick. And I mean, obviously at the corner position, of course. But if you say Cam Taylor-Britt maybe doesn't, go or they don't want to pay him after this season, and Al Golden says, let's go get a corner, a good one-on-one cover man that can play man coverage, that's Jermon McCoy. Definitely like that one there for the Bengals. Need to prove the secondary. Oh, Zachariah Branch, Georgia. Well, transferred down to Georgia from USC. Speed is not a concern with Zachariah Branch, I'll tell you that. It's just improving as a receiver, getting more physical at the catch point. And he also is going to be an electric returner for this football team. You absolutely want to get him the ball in his hands. The dude can make plays. So it's not the biggest need, in my opinion, for this football team, but it could be. It definitely could be. And just it comes down to what happens at their receiver position this offseason. There could be some major turnover. However, I do think offensive line in general is still the biggest need. So I'd kind of be leaning towards offensive line. Like, I'm just going to say offensive line, John Lynch, offensive line. Like, what are you doing about the offensive line? I know you've invested like a 6th or 7th round pick into it this year, but I don't know if that's cutting it for me. Los Angeles Rams, CJ Allen. For me personally, if you know me, I am a huge Nate Landman fan. So I'm going to go everything against drafting a replacement for him because I love him so much. The Hitman. And then you also have Omar Smart. So, I don't know if it's like that big of a need. I do think CJ Allen is really good. So like that, I don't want to call out or anything too crazy. I look at corner here too. I could definitely, sell me on one of these corners at this point. I think besides that, though, I think quarterback could even be an option for this football team, too. Like, that wouldn't shock me either. If you want to take a chance on a John Mateer or whatever quarterback you're high on at this point, certainly an option for the Rams at 24. Chargers, the Bolts, TJ Parker. They get an electricity machine over there to maybe be that long-term Khalil Mack replacement for them. You got Tui Pelotu, of course, and then they did draft Kyle Kennard in the 3rd round or something like that. So he could be a contributor. You got Bud Dupree, but Dupree more of a situational player at this point So Parker at this value makes a lot of sense. Like I think Parker in the top 10 at the moment just is a little bit rich for me, but here in the 20s makes a lot of sense. You can develop him and he could be a nice pass rusher for them and hopefully a number one guy. Okay, Antonio Williams here, Clemson wide receiver. He got injured in the LSU game, but he's a really talented player. And, every time you turn on the Clemson film, oh, there's Antonio Williams. I'm a little lower on Williams. I have him as more of like a third round selection at the moment, but Commanders, we'll see if they end up letting go Debo, how Ladd McConkey comes along and whatnot. And we'll see. Yeah, that's just going to be when they also drafted, what's his name? They drafted somebody else too that I like. So maybe, but for right now, man, I'm blanking too many names. Already blanking on these names. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But too many names scrambled up in the mind. I would go with an edge rusher here. I would go, I would even think about taking more linebacker help here, especially if all three of those linebackers are off the board. So that's fine. I get that. But if like a CJ Allen, Sonny Styles, or Anthony Hiller, I could see that because Bobby Wagner is getting a little bit older. If he retires after this season, then that would be definitely a need too. Cowboys, they go and get Nick the Quick. Okay, I like Nick the Quick. Again, I mentioned this earlier. I actually like Nick Singleton even a little bit more than Air Love, as much as, I think Air Love is really good too. It's really close, but I love Nick Singleton's like insane speed that he has. He's such a good pass protector, and he's a good receiving back as well. I think he's a full 3-down workhorse. And for the Cowboys, unless Jaden Blue steps up this season, I do think they're going to be in the market for running back. Whether they need to select one in the first round or on day 2, they're in need for a running back. So I don't have a problem with this one. They could have a multitude of needs, and it could be even possibly a right tackle to replace Terrence Steele, maybe. It could be, or even a left tackle, maybe move Tyler Guyton over to right tackle. So there's possibilities for what this football team can do if George Pickens isn't re-signed, and that could be an option. If, you want to look at a more defensive line for the future, then that's certainly, well, obviously they already got a edge rusher and Reuben Bain, so maybe a corner, even though they just saved, and they just got down and they've re-signed Jerron Bland. So that's not necessarily, but safety is the area I'm looking at here. Safety could be in question mark too for them. KC, they go Max Clare, the tight end from The Ohio State University. I do want to say, and I just got to shout out because I love Noah Gray. I think he is underrated in the NFL right now. Very good football player. Now, they do use 2 tight ends quite a bit here in Kansas City. And if Travis Kelce goes on a love story, pun intended, I know, but if he does go on that love story after this season and retires, this would make a lot of sense. Claire's a great player. Even though we had that one drop at the beginning of the game, just like, dude, Jeremiah Smith, like, what's going on here? He's got a couple of drops, changed the gloves out, and we're good to go. And Claire, same thing, like one early drop, and he was good the rest of the game. So I don't mind this pick, though. I think it's a good one for the Chiefs. I think that the Detroit Lions go A.J. Harris here, the corner from Penn State, keep it close to home. I still would lean edge rusher here, okay, in terms of players that are on the board. LT Overton's still available. Okay, I would take LT Overton 100% right here. That would be an easy slam dunk pick. If LT Overton's still available, I'm trying to think of other edge rushers that are still available right now on the board. LT Overton, I know Dennis Sutton's a popular pick here for the Detroit Lions. That if you want to go ahead and take him, he's Penn State. That's kind of where I would lean at the moment right now. Even though AJ Harris, he's a guy I have not watched, so I need to be real with that. He's a dude I need to take a look out for. It depends on Terrion Arnold. And obviously DJ Reed's been signed. Enos Rakestraw, maybe at this point you say anything we can get out of him is just a plus. Maybe he doesn't even play because of the injuries. Unfortunately, as talented as he is, sometimes injuries derail careers. Buffalo Bills go Chris Bell. Okay, they added another weapon. Now they did just sign Josh Palmer. Would that stop me? It's going to come down to how does Keon Coleman step up into year number 2. If you're trying to get that A.J. Brown type of clone, he's that guy. Dude has got insane burst too. Oh my gosh. He's 6'1", like 220 pounds, and he accelerates so fast. And he's so physically tough to tackle with his size and his speed. So yeah, he is a really interesting player. And he can run routes too. So dude that I could see beat a big-time riser after the season from Louisville. A lot of talent. Is it their biggest need? Probably not. Do they have a true number 1 wide receiver? Not at the moment. But once again, you don't have to have a true number 1 wide receiver. If you got a well-rounded core, you can get the job done. I do think that offensive line would be my top need going into this offseason right now. And then maybe more secondary help, even depending, Max Harrison. If he hits the ground running, helps him out. Maybe even safety could be a possibility for them too. Eagles, of course, LT Overton falls to the Eagles. Of course, like, oh my gosh, geez, Keith Sanchez, what are you doing? Overton's like a top 15 player for me, even a top 10 player at the moment. I think Overton's a beast. I think he's a handcrafted machine that has enough athletic burst. Like, he's not the most explosive or anything like that, but he's tough as nails. He could play 5-tech for them. He could play, a multitude of positions. Hey, you can line him up a 3-tech if you want to. The guy is a really talented edge rusher there from Alabama. He's another dude that's like, you know what? I want to come back. I want to get even better. I love it. I respect it. Overton, man, I really am a big fan. And then we go on to the final pick. Carnell Tate, the wide receiver from Ohio State, had that crazy double catch there in the end zone. And certainly going to add another jump ball. Well, really, another jump ball specialist there, with the tight ends that he throws to, of course, the Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. Now you go get Carnell Tate, another big option for this football team. You pair him along with Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers. I'm okay with that. I'm okay, especially with if Tez Johnson or Devontae Walker does not step up this season. If you don't see a ton from Walker, then this would make a lot of sense. I think D tackle, Banks is still in the. Keith Sanchez didn't go with Banks in the first round. I'm locking him up. Woo! Come on, Sanchez. No, I'm kidding. See, this is why you get to criticize people now. But I think it's a fun mock draft, and it's so early, trying to figure out players and where they go. And one thing, Banks is an older prospect too. So he's going to be 24, 25 in his rookie season. So that's something you have to factor in. Carnell Tate's a good player, though. And I certainly don't have a problem with that. I think he's going to be a high floor prospect that you could take a solid weapon for the Ravens. I do think they need some more interior juice there to give some rotation and give some help with Madubuike and Travis Jones. So anyway, that's the mock draft here for Keith Sanchez. Let me know what you think. Agree or disagree? Really enjoyed it. Like I said, I may try to do more of these because I really find them a lot of fun. And I hope you guys have a good day. I'll talk to you later.